Wow.
Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
If that fight ends up being close,
yes,
a lot of people are going to watch that fight, right?
A lot, because I think a lot of people are going to want to see Jake Paul lose, and
100%.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Floyd Mayweather slammed the idea of Jake Paul fighting Canelo Alvarez, saying Jake would get demolished. He said Jake looks good against YouTubers and non-boxers but would struggle against real fighters. Mayweather believes that if Jake steps into the ring with an elite boxer like Canelo, it's game over.
Have you been impressed?
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money, and he's entertaining. I like it.
Is he? And Floyd, there were many people who believe you're the most talented fighter ever, period. So whatever you say to this question, I think is important. Are you impressed? Does he have boxing ability, or is he just an entertainer who has a lot of fans and can promote a fight and has fought lesser opponents? Or is he actually talented?
As long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that good.
Does he have the ability, with what you've seen, to continue to mold himself into somebody who can actually? He told me before his goal is to fight Canelo, so that's where his mindset's at.
It get fucked up by Canelo. Oh, I'm sorry, it's TMZ.
You can curse. You can curse. You can curse.
I apologize, but
no apologize about.
There's no way he get demolished. But for what he's doing, as long as they keep getting YouTubers and keep putting them in there with MMA guys.
Canelo Alvarez is known as one of the smartest businessmen in boxing, choosing fights that bring big paydays, not just tough competition. That's why Jake Paul believes Canelo will eventually fight him. Jake calls himself the biggest entertainer in boxing, saying people watch him whether they want to see him win or get knocked out. He thinks his ability to sell pay-per-views will make fighters like Canelo want to fight him, arguing that a fight between them would be a huge financial success, making millions for both.
I think it's very, very realistic. And people may think that sounds crazy, but Canelo is a smart businessman. And at the end of the day, he wants to do big fights and make, entertainment, make huge entertainment products. And my skill set is improving every single day. And that's what doing fights like this are about, taking on real professional fighters so that eventually I could take on tougher fighters. And I see Canelo versus Jake Paul happening in the next 24 months. It just makes so much sense. And also, people forget that, I'm 200 pounds. I have a size advantage. All of these things that start to add up, which make it such an interesting fight that I fully believe I'll win. There's the KSIs, the Tommy Furies, the Nate Diaz MMA fight. But I don't know if these guys actually want to put it on the line. We've tried to make a Floyd fight happen. Floyd's ducked it. So I don't know if these guys really want to take a risk.
Jeff Mayweather, a respected voice in boxing, dismissed the idea of Jake Paul fighting Canelo Alvarez, calling it unrealistic. He said no one in the sport would take this fight seriously, and even joked that Jake might as well say he wants to fight Muhammad Ali. Jeff believes Jake is living in a fantasy world, calling out top boxers without proving himself against real competition. He also thinks Canelo would never accept this fight because it wouldn't be competitive at all.
All right, here with Jeff Mayweather. Jeff, appreciate taking the time. Unfortunately, the Hasim Rahman Jr. Jake Paul fight has been canceled. Jake said something very interesting, though. He said that the big fight out there right now is Canelo. And he said, hey, Canelo can be beat. Bivol gave the blueprint, and I'm just like Bivol. I had the same powers, similar attributes, speed, elusiveness. All, he's basically I don't want to say carbon copy, but he's very similar to Bivol. So he would match up favorably with Canelo. Hard to argue. He's undefeated so far, and boxers are ducking him. What do you think?
Well, maybe. Why don't he just fight Bivol then? Canelo's already fighting somebody. Triple G.
But Canelo's the money, right?
Not anymore.
He's more money than Bivol.
He's probably more money than Bivol.
Especially if he beats Triple G.
Yeah, he's still probably more money than him. But the thing is that, I mean, nobody's even going to take that serious. I mean, you can say all you want to. I mean, you can say you can fight Muhammad Ali. You can say you can fight whoever. I mean, ain't nobody taking that serious.
But why not? Canelo wants money fights. Jake is, it's pretty undeniable. He's the hottest prospect in boxing right now. He's undefeated. He's also one of the biggest draws in boxing. So why would that not be a fight to make? Or do you think that's something Canelo figures that's, it would look bad if he didn't come through positively in that fight?
I think that it's a fight that Jake is just yelling just to make himself look like he's legitimate. But, of course, he has a coach that would never let him fight Canelo.
You wouldn't favor him in that fight against Canelo?
On Ariel Helwani's podcast, the topic was discussed again, making it clear that Jake Paul versus Canelo Alvarez is not happening. They firmly said there is no world where this fight can take place. It's not just unlikely, it's impossible.
YouTube influencer versus pound for pound great being the hang up in the fight, being the one that stops the momentum. Because it's not happening. There is no world.
Okay, then let me ask you
this. May I be struck by lightning right now if this is possible?
Wow, a lightning bet from...
If this happens,
right.
if this happens.
There's just no way. There is no way.
Wait. If what happens? If the fight happens or if the upset of
if
the
Jake
century happens?
If Jake Paul derails Terrence Crawford versus Canelo by
all credit
beating
to him.
Canelo,
then you book Jake Paul versus Terrence Crawford.
Zero.
Okay, let me ask you this. If that fight ends up being close...
Yes.
A lot of people are going to watch that fight, right? A lot
yes. because I think a lot of people are going to want to see Jake Paul lose, and
100%. Canelo's going to do this.
Like
Canelo would do this, and we're
let's
just talking.
Let's backtrack to your first question, which is interest. I'm very interested because, as I've long said, I'm on this corner. I only care about Jake Paul in spectacles. It would be an absolute spectacle to see a pound for pound. First, he did Mike Tyson, which, and I'm not going all the way back, but I'm saying in his most recent outing, Mike Tyson, an all-time legend, a pop culture icon, versus Jake Paul is a spectacle. Now you're going the opposite direction to nearly in his prime. We'll say maybe like he's on the back nine, but he's still close to his prime. He's still a top 5 pound for pound on pretty much anybody's list fighter. Going against Jake Paul, I'm in for the spectacle. I'm in. I don't think Jake Paul has a chance in hell, but I'm in for the spectacle.
And how long has he been beating the drum on this? He's been saying he's going to do this forever.
Listen, let's see what happens.
So credit to him if it happens.
They believe Jake is living in a fantasy if he thinks he can fight Canelo. Former world champion Carl Froch also spoke on the topic, warning that if this fight happens, it will get messy. Froch has been a strong critic of Jake Paul's boxing career and believes Jake is not skilled enough to share a ring with Canelo. He said Jake would be completely outclassed and could even get hurt. Froch stressed that Canelo is a ruthless fighter who doesn't go easy on opponents, and if Jake steps into the ring with him, he won't just lose, he will be seriously exposed.
He's mentioned me before, and there'll be people out there saying, oh, Carl Froch's talking about himself, he's after a payday. Listen, I'm not after a payday. I'm doing all right. There's no problems with my finances, but I'll take the fucking payday, of course I will, and I'll end Jake Paul with one punch. I'd go in there one-armed and beat this guy. He can't box. He's absolutely fucking useless, which we saw last night with Mike Tyson. Talking about Canelo Alvarez. I've not mentioned Canelo Alvarez because it's just laughable. Jake Paul, Canelo Alvarez. Can you imagine? I mean, if Jake Paul fancies that and he jumps in the ring with him, I will pay homage to him because fair play. If he jumps in there with Canelo Alvarez, he'll get absolutely fucking destroyed, and it will be fast and it will be messy, and it will be bad for his health as well, potentially.
Despite most boxing analysts doubting the fight, Jake Paul's trainer has hinted that an official announcement about Jake vs. Canelo is coming soon. This has sparked speculation that the fight might actually happen, even though many see it as a mismatch. Some fans think Jake is just bluffing for media attention, while others believe there might be some truth to the rumors. Either way, his trainer's comments have added more fuel to the fire.
Jake Paul could be fighting next.
I can't give you the insight. I can't give you the insight. Just know that announcement coming real soon. Real soon.
Let me ask you a question then. Obviously, you're not going to tell me.
Okay.
You keep moving. Come here.
All right, my bad.
Step.
If Jake Paul versus Canelo Alvarez is expected to happen in May, Jake simply won't have enough time to prepare. Boxing experts say he needs months just to get into the right weight class and condition himself for a fight against someone like Canelo. With this timeline, it seems unlikely that Jake will be ready by May. Even if the fight happens later in the year, many believe he wouldn't be able to close the huge skill gap between him and Canelo, no matter how much he trains.
You said that you'd like to go up against Canelo Alvarez. What gives you the right to call out a 59-2 boxer, one of the greatest of all time, when you've not yet proven yourself?
I'm predicting what's going to happen 3 more years from now.
So I'm
going to get to his skill level and beat him. I have one of the greatest self-belief systems in the world, and I know what I'm capable of. And with this new team, I can give Canelo a serious run for his money.
Would you ever do like exhibitions like that, or like people like Jake Paul call you out, or these like other big stars? Like, is that business-wise like even worth it?
When I'm done with boxing, why not? Maybe I do it. I think it's
like when you're done like competing at the highest level, you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's good because what happened there is other people who never watch boxing, or they don't know anything about boxing, they wanna watch Jake Paul because he's coming from he bring fans from other world, right? Yeah. That's good because everybody enjoy it.
Would you ever entertain that idea when you're done?
Maybe.
Most boxing analysts agree that if this fight happens, it won't last long. Many believe Canelo would knock Jake out in the first round. Jake is trying to fight one of the greatest boxers in the sport, and most think he isn't ready for that challenge. If the fight happens, fans shouldn't expect it to go past the first few rounds.
Do you have a call out in mind? Or are you kind of just going to see where it takes?
No, I mean, I do. It's Canelo. This moment will prove that I'm the face of boxing, the largest attraction. Me versus Canelo at 200 pounds for the cruiserweight championship is the biggest fight, arguably even bigger than me versus Tyson, and it makes so much sense. And you know, Canelo's on his way out. He's gonna want a payday, and I want to show the world that all the shit I've been talking about beating Canelo is actually true, and I'll have the biggest upset in the sport of boxing, and we will fight to really see who is the face. After this event, I'm gonna be claiming it. I beat his gate record. I'm beating the ticket sales, all of that stuff. So I'm gonna be the new money man.
Joe Rogan has praised Canelo Alvarez for his punching power and defensive skills, calling him one of the most dangerous fighters in the world. He has highlighted Canelo's precision, footwork, and counter-punching ability, saying he controls every part of a fight. Rogan believes Canelo would be a nightmare for any fighter, especially someone like Jake Paul, who has limited experience. If a respected analyst like Rogan thinks Canelo is on another level, it only proves that Jake has no business sharing a ring with him.
This is very fucking dangerous. Very dangerous.
And there's always somebody coming right behind you. And these guys who've been at the top so long, you're like, all right, let me get somebody that's on my level. Canelo, he's been in the game just as long as me. And all right, let's just do this for this paycheck and then move on.
I think when they get to a certain level and they realize they only have a few fights left, they want the big money fights. And Canelo is obviously the biggest money fight. Even though Boots Ennis is a great fighter, most people don't know who he is yet.
Yeah.
And with Canelo, everybody knows who Canelo is. If you get the Canelo fight, that's red panties night. If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, you'd be like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's fucking for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
Even though most boxing experts have dismissed the idea of Jake versus Canelo, the slight chance of it happening has shocked many fans. Jake has spent years making bold claims that Canelo needs him for a big payday. Now that rumors are spreading, people are wondering if the fight could actually happen. Whether it happens or not, Jake has successfully created hype around it, which is exactly what he does best.
Champion. And then for your girlfriend, Yuta, to win Olympic gold.
Yeah, we just have all the belts.
That's insane.
In the world.
That's crazy.
And then we should just retire after that.
So look, are you happy with your performance in the fight? Are you happy with the way the night went down?
I wish he would have, put up a better fight, so then I could have risen more and done more. And he was surviving.
He was.
So
before you went out,
it's worked up. But I think that everybody just wants him to win. Wanted Mike to win.
But
dude, people really don't like us, Jake. People really want to see you get knocked out.
yeah, what did I ever do to anyone?
Well, you climbed on top of the KTLA news van.
That hilarious.
You wasted the government's money.
How?
Because the FBI had to raid your house.
They wasted their own money. They wasted their own money. Like, why would they do that? I didn't. And then, like, nothing ever came from it. They didn't even know what they were doing there.
Jake Paul has always shared his thoughts on Canelo Alvarez, claiming in past interviews that Canelo is ducking him and afraid to fight him because Jake brings more attention to boxing. While most boxing experts find this ridiculous, Jake keeps saying that Canelo needs him more than he needs Canelo. Whether he truly believes this or is just hyping himself up, it's clear that Jake is doing everything he can to keep his name linked to Canelo Alvarez. TalkSport hosts have shared their thoughts on Jake Paul fighting Canelo Alvarez, calling the idea a joke.
Paul, let's have it right, guys. You know, I mean, you're talking about Jake Paul calling out granddads in Mike Tyson, and that fight, you know, you look at that where Mike Tyson could barely walk up the steps at the time, and it became evident when we was out there.
You were bloody championing it.
Yeah, that's before I got out there, Simon, and saw the state of Mike Tyson. If I'm totally honest, he weren't in the greatest of health, and he done his job, and we saw, you know, Jake.
But it is a fair argument, Spence. I know that what you're saying it has validity to it as well. But if you put Jake Paul in a ring with a bona fide all-time great, you're discrediting the sport. You're making it about something that's not competitive. This is just money. It's taking the mickey out of the fans, and it's giving Jake Paul some validity by association. That's what it's doing. And that's why people will say, come on now, that's taking boxing in the wrong direction.
So, I mean, you're right. It puts boxing into disrepute in many ways, if I'm totally honest, because like you say, it's sort of disrespecting the sport. Jake Paul and what he's doing and all this stuff with UFC fighters and ex-champions that are 60 plus. Great, there's a home for that. You know, Jake Paul's fans will like that. That's a different, you know, that's a different era we're talking about, a different fan base that we're talking about. Canelo going in with Jake Paul. Where does Jake Paul earn the right to box Canelo?
Oh, exactly.
Let's have it right here.
Yeah.
We're talking about a modern day great, and we're talking about a current world champion. How does Jake Paul fit into that top 10 when you're talking about Adam Azim, who's like, you know, a legitimate, great, world-class fighter who's not even in WBC top 10.
They believe this fight is unnecessary and that boxing doesn't need it, saying it's more about hype and entertainment than real competition.
3 years ago when I was calling out Nate Diaz and all of these big names, Anderson Silva, all of these people, and they said, you don't have the right to call them out. And then I manifested it, got the skill in the gym, got to their level and above, and then beat them. It's literally just, I'm repeating the playbook now. I'm predicting what's going to happen 3 more years from now.
So I'm
going to get to his skill level and beat him. And I have a weight advantage, a size advantage, a height advantage, a reach advantage. And he's super skilled. I just went 10 rounds. Me and Canelo can go 10 rounds. Like, come on.
You face off with Canelo today. What happens?
I would lose. But in 2 years, I have one of the greatest self-belief systems in the world. And I know what I'm capable of. And with this new team, the experience I'm getting in the ring under the lights, I believe in 2 years, I can give Canelo a serious fucking run for his money.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and stay informed. Stay tuned for more updates, and let's keep our news accurate.